大家好，欢迎来到我的频道。Welcome back to Chinese with Rida. In today's lesson, we are going to learn lesson 7 of the new HSK 3.0 standard course. The title of the lesson is 我晚上6点半下课. I will finish work at 6:30 in the evening. One of the most important things we are going to learn in lesson 7 is how to express an exact time and the hour. Let's do a quick exercise to get started. Match the symbols with the clocks. You can probably figure them out. We have already covered the numbers. Let's do this exercise before we learn the rules for telling time in Chinese. Let's look at option A, 8:15, 8点15. This matches with picture 6, 8:15. You can see the numbers for 8 and 15 in this expression. Option B, 15:20. 3点20, 15 and 20. We match it with the picture 4. It's 3:20 in the afternoon or it's 15:20. Option C, 10点10分, 10 and 10. We match it with the picture 1. It's 10 minutes past 10. Option D, it's 1:45. So 13 is actually 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We match it with the picture 3. 1:45. Option E. 12:10. We match it with the picture 2. We can see the number 12 in this expression. So we match it with 12:30. And the last option F. 18:00 belongs to picture 5. It's 6 o'clock or 18 o'clock. Alright, so after doing this exercise, I don't know if you already found some of the rules of expressing an or in Chinese. Let's see. The language points for this lesson are two. First, the expression of time, and then we will learn about the modal verb pa. First, let's look at the expression of time. The first word we are going to look at is dian. Dian means or. If you want to say a time which is something o'clock exactly with no extra minutes, you just say the number and you add the dian, the hanzi dian. Let's look at the example 9 o'clock, 9点, 5 o'clock, 5点, and the 2 o'clock, 2点. Pay attention here. It's not 2点 because is also 2, but we use liang here to express an or. We say 2点. As we already studied that liang is used before a quantifier. So you can understand dian for or is a quantifier here. So we use liang and we don't use Now, what if it's not something o'clock exactly? If there are extra minutes, we use the word fan. But there are some details to keep in mind. First of all, fan can be omitted. Look at the first example, 9:20. We can say 9:20 or we can just omit the fan. We say simply 9:20. Both ways are totally fine. Only in one case fan cannot be omitted, and that is when the minutes are exactly 10 minutes. Let's look at the second example. 6:10 or 10 minutes past 6. Here it's not acceptable to say 6:10. It does not make any sense. Okay, remember this point. Another special case is when the minutes are less than 10 minutes. Look at the third example, 5 minutes past 8. We have to add ling before the number of the minutes. So 8:5 is said as 8:05, 8:05. Or we can also omit the fen. We can say 8:05. Alright, that's it for the minutes. Let's move on and now look at the hanzi pen. So pen means half in general, and in the case of expressing time, when we want to express half past some hour, we add pen. So let's look at the examples. 7:30 or half past 7. 7:30 pen. 7:30 pen. Half past 3. 7:30 pen. 7:30 pen. Half past 11. 11:30 pen. 11:30 pen. Of course, if here we want to say, for example, 7:30, to say the number 30 is also right. So you can say 7:30. The last hands for expressing time is an extra that I added. It's not in the textbook. It's k. So k means 15 minutes. When it's exactly 15 minutes, we can use k. Let's look at the examples. First one, 15 minutes past 4. We can say 4:01, or we can say 4:15. 15 past 10. We can say 10:01 or 10:15. And last, what if it's 3:45? In Chinese, we can express this 45 minutes as 3 times of 15. We can say 1:15, or we can say 1:45. So the two ways are both very common in Chinese daily conversation. Another important point is that it's not very common in Chinese to say an or and use a number bigger than 12 before we say the or, to express whether it's, for example, 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in afternoon or evening. We use 上午, 中午, 下午, 晚上, and that means morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. Let's look at some example. 10:58 in the morning. If we want to say 10:58 in the morning, we say 上午10:58分. If we want to specify it's 12 o'clock a.m., we can say 中午12点 means noon. Right, that's it for the expression of time of the hour. I hope you find it clear. If you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comment section below. Great. Now let's look at the modal particle pa. So the modal particle pa in this lesson is pronounced with a neutral tone at the end of a sentence. So we leave it very light at the end of sentence. It is used to express suggestions, consultations, advice, or requests. Let's look at some examples. 我们3点见吧. Okay, as you can see, I leave the pa very light at the end of a sentence. Jian means meet. It's actually a suggestion or a consultation. It says let's meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Next example, 你去超市买吧. 超市没有. So here you can understand the sentence as some kind of a request. You go to the supermarket to buy it. 超市没有. It means the thing you want to buy is not present in the supermarket. Alright, new words. Now let's look at the new words of text 1. 上次 new words. 现在 this means now. The end. We have already explained it in the expression of time. 早上 early morning. 上午 morning. 早上 is used before 8 o'clock in the morning, and 上午 is used between 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock. K class or lesson. 下午 afternoon. So if you compare the word 上午 morning and 下午 afternoon, you will see the only difference is that morning is 上 and afternoon is 下. The Hanzi is the same, so let's break it down. Hanzi shang actually means up, over, on the top of something, and xia is the opposite. It means down, below, or under something. You can see the two Hanzi are actually also written like the opposite of each other. So these are very useful Hanzi that will appear in a lot of words. For example, we can add shang to k, class or lesson. Shang ke means attend class, And we can also add sha to the kh. Sha kh means to dismiss a class. Alright, let's move on. Jian. Jian means to meet. Pa. Pa, the modal particle pa. Perfect. Now let's listen to the text and read the text with me. 课文一，现在几点？早上8点40。我上午10点10分有课。好的，我们下午2点见吧。Let's reread it. 现在几点？早上8点40。我上午10点10分有课。好的，我们下午2点见吧。If you have watched all the videos so far, congratulations, you are already halfway through the HSK 1 3.0 new standard course. It's a long journey, but you are off to a great start. I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye. 再见.